Chapter 26. Tom brought me the tape, and I invited Frankie to sleep over on the weekend. I didn't mention the movie. I was so excited. I could hardly wait for Saturday night. I put the tape in a secret place to make sure Frankie didn't see it. I hid it in my third drawer, under my Mets sweatshirt. Then I got worried that I'd forget where the secret place was, so I wrote notes to myself on Post-its. But I had to write them in code so Frankie wouldn't figure out what I'd planned for him. I drew a baseball bat and wrote, "Mets rule," on all the notes. I put one on my clock radio, and one on the mirror in the bathroom, and one on the chart above my desk. When Frankie came over, he looked around and said, "What's with all the Mets stuff?" "They're reminders," I said. "Of what? That the Mets suck?" "No, of where I hid." "Hid what?" Frankie wanted to know. I bit my lip really hard. That secret wanted to come out so bad. I was dying to tell him, but that would ruin the surprise. Somehow I made it until Saturday. My parents were going out, and Papa Pete was staying with us. He and I put together a great plan. We set up sleeping bags in the living room right in front of the TV. Emily was in her room making little cots out of construction paper and toothpicks for all 22 baby iguanas. She had come up with a way to make pillows out of cotton balls. That would keep her busy all night. Besides, horror movies were not her cup of chocolate milk. When Frankie got there, Papa Pete made us pastrami sandwiches with brown mustard on seedless rye. Put a crunchy pickle next to that, and you can't beat it. After dinner, it was time for the main event. "You boys get comfortable in your sleeping bags, and I'll put on a movie," Papa Pete said. "I'll put out something that I'm comfortable with you watching while I'm on duty." He winked at me. He handed me a videotape. I slid the tape out and handed the cover to Frankie. "The Parent Trap," Frankie said. "You've got to be kidding me." It was all I could do to keep from bursting out laughing. "Try it," Papa Pete said. "I'll hate it," groaned Frankie. "For years I wouldn't eat raisins," said Papa Pete. "I thought anything that looks that bad has got to taste bad too. Then one day I put some on my cereal, and now I wouldn't think of starting my day without them." "Papa Pete," said Frankie, "that's raisins. We're talking about a movie that 8-year-old girls love. How can you compare the two?" "I watched The Parent Trap with Emily a couple weeks ago," I said, trying as hard as I could to keep a straight face. "The part where the parents kiss is pretty interesting." "Zip, I think your brains have fallen out and turned into marshmallows," Frankie said. "Just put the tape in," said Papa Pete. "No violence, no naked ladies, good family fun." "I'm going to be sick," Frankie said. "Correction, I am sick." "Enjoy yourselves, gentlemen," Papa Pete said, and he went into the kitchen. I couldn't look at Frankie. Slowly, I moved my finger toward the play button and pressed it. Then I hurled myself across the room onto my sleeping bag. I tried to watch the screen, but I kept one eye on Frankie to see his reaction. The music came up and the picture came on. It was a deserted cabin in the wilderness. A window was broken and the night was dark. Too dark. "Hey, this doesn't look like The Parent Trap," Frankie said. All of a sudden, a giant moth came flying out of the shattered window of the cabin and filled the screen. Its eyes glowed red. It spread its wings, and the title came up across them, The Mutant Moth That Ate Toledo. Frankie sat straight up in his sleeping bag. No way, he said. No way. This was truly one of the happiest moments of my life. Zip, Frankie said. He was so excited he couldn't even put together a sentence. You, moth, here, now, no way, no way. Papa Pete had opened the kitchen door a slice. He was smiling. I was smiling. Frankie was smiling. How did you do this, Zippola? Frankie asked. I made a promise to you, and I messed up. I had to fix it. Well, you can mess up as much as you want if this is the way it ends up, Frankie said. This is so cool. I don't know what to say. That's good, I said, because you're not supposed to talk during a movie. Papa Pete pushed the door all the way open and brought in a bowl filled with an assortment of ice cream bars. He sat down on the couch, and the three of us spent the next 2 hours screaming our heads off enjoying The Mutant Moth That Ate Toledo.